I love terrible jokes. Well, some people might not. And Christy made an absolutely fantastic comment that she likes to actually, in an interview, say, I like terrible jokes. And then she assesses the way that they react to that. If they react positively, then great, they're potentially a good match for her. But if they respond negatively, then they're probably not the right organization for her. So in today's video, I really want to unpack this in a little bit more detail because I feel like there's two really important elements that you as an individual could use in your current or future interviews, and that is being yourself and making sure that you're assessing the interviewers and the company and the role itself. So in your next interview, I want you to really be yourself. Now, bear in mind, this doesn't mean that you be yourself like you are on a Sunday afternoon, lounging out on the couch and cracking a beer. It's probably not the right be yourself side of yourself that you want to be showing. But I guess what I mean is you want to be showing a bit of your character. It's one thing to be polite and be professional in an interview. It's another to give them a bit of your personality and a bit of your character. At the end of the day, these people will be working with you closely 40 hours a week. And, nobody wants to hire a robot. They want to make sure that you can do the job effectively, that you can bring value to the organization. But on the other deeper level, they want to be able to work closely with you as a person. And the only way they can really match that is making sure that they know who you are and you know who they are. You'll notice when you interview that there's a big focus from the interviewers on company culture and company values. And this is because the organization is not just looking to find someone that ticks the boxes in terms of their professional experience, their skills, the value that they bring, but they also want to make sure that they're finding someone that matches the company's culture and values. This way they're finding someone that'll be well engaged and will be working with this company hopefully for time to come. So it's not just hiring someone that's going to come in for a short time and then run away. To balance all these behaviors, there's also a need to find the cultural fit of that person and that individual. And really you can only do that by opening yourself up to the interviewer, showing a bit of your personality, a bit of your brand if you like, as to who you are. And look, to be honest, some companies might not gel well with the personality or energy that you're providing. Christy in the comment mentioned that, she likes to throw out that she loves terrible jokes. But the truth is some people don't like terrible jokes. They might find terrible jokes really offensive or really annoying or just really not their cup of tea. So, finding the right organization is about finding the right mix. And whilst a company might match the pay and the flexibility and growth and learning that you as an individual are looking for from an organization, but it might not actually match in terms of the cultural fit. So what's the point joining a company if you're not really matching them on a personality and cultural level? What that means is that you're less likely to be engaged and less likely to really stay in that company and that organization for a long time. If you're listening and you're like, okay, be yourself, but how do I be myself in an interview when I'm expected to be so polite and so formal? Well, this will probably be a bit of practice, and it will be really about yourself being able to control your nerves. Because when you're really nervous, you tend to just answer questions functionally, just getting straight to the point, or the opposite, you might rattle on and talk too much. But being yourself, I feel, is more about looking for little opportunities throughout the interview where you can show a bit of your humor, a bit of your character. And you could do this by perhaps, when you're answering some of these behavioral type questions, to focus on a little bit of personal anecdotes, or at least making sure that you're showing your personality, your perspective on something, as opposed to just giving the nitty-gritty details or the technical details of that moment. Now, the second part is interviewing them. As I mentioned, you want to use an interview as an opportunity for you as the interviewee to actually assess the company, the manager, and the role itself to make sure that it's the right fit for you. Now, there's definitely going to be circumstances in your career where you might be just looking to take on any opportunity that is willing to offer you at that point in time. But really, when you're in a good position, perhaps where you've got that ability to look and take your time to find the right organization, then it's really crucial that you're actually interviewing them. You also want to be looking out for any red flags to make sure that the organization is going to set you up for success. You don't want to join a role and find that the role is made redundant shortly after, or find that the workload is so excessive because the team doesn't have the tools or the material or the structure in order for the individuals to be successful in the role. That's definitely setting yourself up for fail. And that's not what we want you to do today. So if you're going into an interview, try to make sure that prior to going into the interview, you've actually thought about 1, 2, 3, perhaps questions that you could ask them, and try and make sure that you've got one that's maybe focused on the team, one that's focused on the company, and one that's focused on the role. That's just a general guide. Feel free to ask any questions that you like, but showing that you've prepared is actually something that will work in your favor. The interviewers will take that as a positive sign when you come in with ready-made questions. Just make sure that you're not asking something that's already been answered throughout the interview. Most likely the opportunity to ask questions is going to be the last 5 to 10 minutes of the interview. So the previous 45 to 50 minutes should have hopefully covered off the majority of what the role is in the team and so on. But anything that's still missing, anything that you still want to get more info, make sure you use that opportunity. Don't let it go to waste. If you're still feeling a little bit unsure about what questions to ask at the end of the interview in those final few moments, I will actually make a separate video on this in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that one. But if there's a set question that you'd like to always throw out in an interview, feel free to drop that in the comment. I know it will really help others in the chat as well. Another element of an interview that you can assess is actually the tone of the interview. So what is the format of the interview? Is it highly regulated and formal? Or is it maybe perhaps really loose and really casual? You as an individual need to know where on that bar is going to be a good mix or a good match for yourself. Some people like to be really casual and really open in their conversations, whereas others might like a more structured and formal professional style of interview. If you go to a large corporate, you're most likely going to find that they're going to be largely structured and corporate, but that doesn't mean that the tone of the interviewer themselves might be a little bit different. So you can assess, the interviewer, whether it's the recruiter or the hiring manager or a panel member, what's their tone? What's their vibe? Are they feeling positive? Are they making jokes along the way? Do they seem genuinely interested in finding out more about yourself? Or are they really just looking to tick off those skills and those experience? You need to know if that's the type of place that you want to be working. And look, it's not that easy to assess the interviewers because you're so focused on trying to perform your own interview that it can be hard to flip that and to change your lens. It's something that will likely take a bit of practice, but I assure you, if you really concentrate and listen and take the time, you'll start to notice the body language of those in the interview. And I think that all of that combined is really, really important. You want to find an organization that fits the style and the tone that you're looking for. The thing that I find that's really, really useful when you're assessing an organization is what is the team itself like? You might have interviewed with a recruiter or a HR member or the hiring manager itself, but you're really only getting certain angles of what the role in the team is. So I think it's really massively useful if you get an opportunity to meet others within that team. But meeting others within that team without having their manager present at the same time will give you a really casual, personal, lens of what it's like to work in that team. And I think that's really, really useful to get that information. Remember, you want to be accepting an offer at the point where you know for a fact that you want to join this organization. So if you have any kind of inklings or red flags or concerns, that doesn't mean that you give up on that opportunity right off the bat. It's important for you to find more opportunities so that you can get more information and make more assessments about this opportunity prior to that acceptance. Now, please heed this warning. If you feel like the company does not match your style, or even if the interviewer rejects you and says that you're not the right fit for the role, this is not a negative thing. I know it can hurt to be rejected by an opportunity or to leave an interview feeling like you've wasted a bit of your time. But the reality is that every interview is practice. Every interview will get you sharper and better at handling the next interview and will help you get closer to finding the right organization that will match who you are and what you're looking for. Now, this doesn't mean that that organization is terrible or horrible or whatever. What it does mean is that it wasn't the right mix and there wasn't the right match for you. And that's not a bad thing. You could have really dodged a bullet in that. If you're not well suited to that role, you would go in and you'd not be set up for success. And that's not really what you want. So I hope unpacking this has helped you understand that Christy's comment about, saying that she likes terrible jokes is a really great way for her to use as a tool to get a feel for, is this an organization that's suitable for her? She's assessing them. At the same time, she's being herself. And that's something that Christy obviously values in finding an organization. She wants to find somewhere that matches her style, matches her experience. And that's ultimately what all of us should be doing when we're looking for an opportunity. So keep these things in mind, and I hope you can use these as tools in your next interview or in your future interviews. So for now, best of luck, happy hunting, cheers.